Well, there we are. Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Hello, hello, hello.
Good afternoon.
I just called the paper because we have someone who was in time. He was the first one here. Believe it or not, he
Can't
was.
believe
definitely.
that.
It's true. It's true. I wish we filmed it, but we didn't.
That's what
We'll
I
have
came
to do
in
that next
like,
time.
I know I'm late. You're late even before me.
Well, he's getting better at being on time, so that's a good thing.
Yeah,
You can do
I
it.
try
Nick.
my
You can do
best.
it. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
I'm all right. Having a hot whiskey.
Yeah,
Sick.
I'm doing good.
not
I'm having hot
complaining,
whiskey.
not complaining.
I'm having cold water.
That's what I
Ginger
had.
ale.
All right. We had a topic, but I'm going to start with something. We were looking for remarkable things that happened in Europe during the paranormal. Couldn't find shit. But there was one remarkable thing for me personally, and that is the channel on TikTok named Smuck Puppy from the UK. They are still busy, and they are still claiming to be real, and they are still claiming to be haunted. And I had a video, and even Bishop James Long made a video of him debunking his ass. I mean, that's bad.
Yes.
If a bishop is starting to debunk you, something's off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
No. So I'm gonna show the video and I'm gonna discuss something. Let's see if I can do this. Can I do this? I can do this.
Yes, you
I
can.
think I can.
Yes, you can.
I had to look. I'm gonna make it bigger.
It's a blind duet here.
Hello.
The camera here, up underneath the stairs. These are the marks after obviously hearing the babies. These are the grab marks. So I'm just going to sit down here and wait for my dad to come home.
And we're supposed to just assume that she's at home alone.
Ow! Don't! Oh! For God's sake! I'll throw shit at you, mate.
No. No. Sorry. Good try.
Just piss off!
Oh, dear God.
I'm going.
Really?
All right. The eye rolling
I had to.
did the thing.
I have my microphone. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Really?
first time I've seen that in that, whether regardless of the video itself or with John, like reviewing it, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's people still believe in them. And
Yep.
people, oh my God, really?
I don't get that. Why is it that people would want to see this crap above the real deal?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Because when the real deal is, it is there, but it's hard work to get it, to find it.
Yep.
When you have gobshites like this, I mean, I could get my daughter from over there and throw a dog at me and say, oh my God, my dog just flew in the air and so on and so on.
Yeah.
I get images.
Oh, I
Don't
just
do
kind of like do that AI where I can block the child out and just see my dog float and my chihuahua floating in the air,
Yeah.
because I think it's constant with them, where when you have people like us who genuinely do it really real and serious, that it takes weeks, months, to go through the evidence and then give you probably 2 or 3 from a 12-hour night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
And they like entertainment.
Well, you
You
know,
want,
and
you want to
that
guess?
even makes
You want to
me-
guess how many followers they have?
Oh, I'm afraid.
Oh, yeah, you got to hear this. They told me before we started.
Take a guess. I want to see if you're close.
Okay, I'd say this a rough guess that just came into my mind: 3.5 million.
No, it's less. It's less.
Oh, okay, that's okay then. That's
Thank
okay.
goodness it's
Now,
not.
now you're doing too much. That's too much. 8.5K.
8,500.
It's more or less. Something like 8.5. It's above 8. So
What? See, that's why I don't watch that, because I'll end up saying something and then I'll be lynched.
no, you're not lynched.
I'll be lynched if I say something, my thoughts on it. I'd be lynched or trolled, and then TikTok would probably give me the usual warning, bullying.
Oh,
harassment, not allowed.
Yeah.
They do that with me as well now.
All the time, and then they kind of mail me saying, "When are you going live? When are you going live?" This is TikTok that mailed me. Wow, 8.5. Was it 8,500 they have?
8,500. Yeah,
You got it.
Wow,
it's way too much. I don't get that. I still don't get it, and I still claim to be haunted. They still claim to be that everything is real, and yet they have been debunked thousands of times already.
Yeah.
Yep.
that's
It's. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric. It's entertainment.
It is. That's
I
what it
wonder
is.
I wonder if I put up a few, say about 3 or 4 really crazy videos like that, will my numbers go up?
Yes, they will.
Probably.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
likely. I'm not going
But
to
then
try.
you have to keep it up.
Yes, well that's it.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
whole
but
problem.
if you're in there for the money, for the clicks and the views,
Yes,
yeah. But it's of the credibility of us. It costs us
Yep.
a lot. They think we are all fakers. And
Yep.
if we claim something, they think we stage it.
They still do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like there's really no way out of it one way or another, just by some people's belief systems. Like when they see this type of footage, and even, I mean, it would not be the least bit surprising. Like when I had my video footage that I shot at the Mulae County Jail, somebody is obviously going to say, "Oh, that was definitely staged. You definitely had that." Or, even if you tell them that, you even saw this on the while you were recording, it still would not change their minds for the most part.
True. Sorry.
Well, and also one other word to note too, because I think I told you guys this a long time ago, because this just came up in my head as a perfect example, was, as I think most of you guys know, that it's hard to believe it's almost 10 years ago now that I actually did, I witnessed an exorcism. I think you guys are all familiar, and I told you guys about that before. And
Yep.
a few days after the exorcism, there was a guy that I was talking with, and he didn't believe any of this kind of stuff. I mean, I even was once I was talking with somebody else about it. He overheard it, and of course, I asked him the simple question, as like anyone would, which was, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And he's like, "No." Said he doesn't believe in any of that kind of stuff. And even after I tried to really describe it to him, he still didn't believe me. But it just goes to show that whether you have evidence or not, either way, it's, for some of these people, it's going to be all the same. They're not going to believe you one way or another, whether you have the evidence or not.
Yeah.
No.
right.
Exactly. Hi, Jared.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
Yeah, but if they start doing discussions and you ask them to come with you to an exorcism or anything like that, then they all back off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they don't believe, but they do believe enough not to go with you.
Mhm.
Right.
In the time that we
Plus-
had this event, it was completely unexpected. It was not planned or anything like that. And again, thank goodness I didn't actually take part in it. I just only witnessed what happened.
Yeah.
What was the
Yeah.
last
So
anything that you'd see in well, I know the movies hype it up a lot. Or you'd have
The only thing that even comes close to that, I mean, I will tell you right now, it is very, very intense, and it's definitely terrifying. The only thing I could definitely remember from that, again, yes, it's true, the movie's hiding up, but the only thing that really ever comes close to something like that, like what you see in these films, is the eyes do indeed roll up. So his eyes roll up, the eyes rolled up, and they came back, and they were a different color, more in this case, kind of like a blackish tint to them, but not like what you see again, like in films where they're like completely jet black. It's just like a certain, basically the around the pupil areas is where you can see it. It's not really that person anymore. The voice does change at times, just a little bit, but not very much. Like again, like we see in some of these movies, it's more of a different tone than anything else. But that's what I've witnessed, and again, it's not a pretty sight. It's not really something that, even though I've studied this stuff for so many years, you know, when you have all these other investigators out there, including one I think we all know who always likes using the word demonic or demon all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because this was one of the, and I'll admit, this was one of the very few times I truly believe that I encountered an actual demonic entity, or in this case, a demonic possession. When you experience something like that truly firsthand, it's not really something to be proud about. All these other investigators, some of these other investigators, including, I'll even say Zach, thinks it's kind of cool that you get to experience a demon or something like that. But when you encounter the real deal and you see those eyes change and the expression change, no doubt at all, it changes your life forever. It really does.
That gives you more respect. Well, even though we have respect when we do investigations, but when you see something like that, only I have heard of it. I've never seen it in real life. It would give me, because we've all had times when we have been scared when something has happened that we cannot. It's not friendly, and has left a mark on us where we remember that fear and what can happen. So to see an exorcist being done like that, and to see the eyes rolling and the eyes changing, it gives a whole different level to.
It does. It was really the first type of, not just the exorcism itself. It was doing this now 20 years. This was probably the first real investigation that actually really scared me, I would assume, because I've always said for many years, I've encountered different types of paranormal entities and have gone on so many investigations, and for the most part, I fear none of that stuff. But I think for all of us as paranormal investigators, we do have that one event out there. In this case, that's what it was with me, and I could certainly say that one, it scared me, definitely.
Well, there's a question in the chat for you, Nick. He's calling you Mister as well. So very, very cool.
A lot of times, as far as protection, of course, obviously, I have sage. I have, obviously being raised Catholic. I got, holy water. Got pretty much a lot of the usual stuff. Of course, I go to church as much as I'm able to, especially on the weekend. So just a lot of the simple things. Not necessarily protection, but it can be, depending on what type you're using. But I'm also starting to get into I'm still learning it myself, but I'm also going to have someone else who's going to teach me how to do this, is learning how to use stones, crystals, protection crystals, that kind of stuff. That's kind of the newest addition to my protection kit.
Always a good thing.
Yes.
Absolutely a good thing. Yeah, I used to do that with the crystals and all, but nowadays I noticed that when I take certain crystals with me, when I choose them, I put my hands above them. I let them pick me. So if it vibrates, I know I have that crystal. I need it.
Right.
But usually when I take those, I get nothing.
Yeah.
It's going to be quiet the whole evening. Then I'm like, no, I don't want that.
If you don't take them with you.
Well, I usually don't take them with me anymore. I just go home. Before I end my investigation, I just close it off. Like you can't leave with me. You're supposed to be here. You stay here. You're not allowed to follow me. And then
Hmm.
I go home, cleanse myself with water, go take a shower, and then it's all finished. I protected myself again. Plus, I live with a witch, so she
Well,
saves me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't take anything with me.
No,
I don't take anything with me but myself.
Yeah.
And look at me, sorry, I'm a little sick, so I'm sneezing and my throat is really hurting me. So I
Yeah,
look.
a lot of people are getting sick recently. Of course, as you guys know, I've also been going through my allergies, so it's been quite a
Yeah.
torture for me this last week or so.
Oh, it's torture. It's torture. I'm so grumpy when I'm sick. So everyone be next to me. I'm going to get grumpy.
Well,
if she gets too grumpy, I'll mute her.
No problem. She mutes herself. She always does.
I always mute myself. Oh my God.
Yes.
I do. Oh my God, Jesus. Oh yeah, so I bring myself. Today's not the day, and I am not the bleeping one. That's what I bring with me. I also bring my respect.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain locations that when I do them, especially Lep Castle, that's definitely one of them. I was talking with a friend of mine today, and we just recently got talking. So when he was telling me his experience from Lep Castle, I was telling him mine, and they just matched and added up together. It was perfect validation. So that's the place where I would go in and say, today's not the day, and I'm definitely not the one, especially in one particular room.
Yeah.
In Lep Castle. But I don't take any protection with me, apart from myself.
A question from Eric again is if we ever had an attachment. It's a question for all.
Yeah.
You just forgot the question mark he added. Like
Yeah.
Oh, I think to this day I have. There's a guy that follows me everywhere, and even when I go to locations for the first time ever, like new place for me, when I go back on the audio or do a playback, you will hear Jenny. In my house, we have my name, and it's been going on for many, many, many years. Someone said to me, Jenny, it's your guardian angel and whatnot. And I would put my recorder on and I say, if you are my guardian angel, tell me your name. Who are you? Why do you always only say my name? You never say anything else, just Jenny. And it is a man. Jenny, 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 Jenny all the time. And I have him on audio. I have no idea who he is. And it's gone on as many years as I'm doing investigations, which is about 18 years. He's always saying my name. So I have no idea who he is. Even one night when I did a show, it's captured on the show. None of the panel heard it. Only I heard it.
Yeah.
And it's captured as well on the live. But none of the panel heard it. None of the people watching heard it. It was just me because it came from here. So I don't know who he is.
No.
He's never harmed me. He never did anything like that to me. No idea. He could be sitting beside me right now. I'm sure
You never know. Maybe he started to call your name again.
Can you make those lights flash, blink behind me? Could you imagine if it did? My daughter's behind it now. My daughter's behind it with the switch ready to go on and off. That's it. But if you hear me now, can you make those lights blink? Make it blink if you're really here. You can hear me talking about you. They're all listening, waiting for you. Could you imagine if they blinked? There's a window beside me.
I was also about to say, can you imagine if something shows up and thinking, well, now we can send this to Paranormal God on camera. We'd be the first podcast video to send to them.
Yeah, I know. Could you imagine? But we don't know. Cool. I don't know who he is. No, I don't know who he is. But he doesn't seem bad.
No, I don't think so.
Jenny, you said those lights behind you. Do they flash? You said.
Did you see that?
I saw that. Time. Yeah, I was about to say I saw it the first time. Then it happened.
It does it again.
Time. Oh my god! Wow! Incredible.
Yeah. I have goosebumps in parts of my body. I didn't know I could get goosebumps on. Did you see that?
Yeah,
I was the first to see because it happened. Because that's why I stopped. I'm like, thinking, wait, that's why I asked. Do those lights flash? Because First time I saw it, they flash.
Girls, can I have another hot whiskey, please? Hold it. If you did that and I just seen it one time, can you do it one more time for me, please? Because the guys we're having great fun with it. Could you do it one more time for me, please? Just to acknowledge that you are here with us. Because normally if that camera goes blurry, I go blurry with it. I'm actually getting vertigo. You know when you get vertigo?
Yeah.
I get vertigo. So, and I get them on location sometimes. I actually have a little vertigo. Can you just make those lights just blink one more time, go blurry for me? Thank you for doing it for the first time around. We hope it is you and it's not the camera work, but can you do it 2 times for me to just let us know it's you?
It always does it when we start talking again.
Yeah, I was going to say that. We'll just keep talking. Hey,
Yeah.
Nick, you can't hear me. You keep an eye on the lights behind me because if I keep looking, he knows I'm looking behind me.
I'm watching on the screen right now, keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
That was funny. Holy, I tell you, goosebumps are part of my body. I didn't know could have goosebumps, but she didn't.
Oh, there! It just went again.
Yes.
I just saw it.
You back off! Look at my hairs! Look at the hairs on my hair!
Yeah. Oh my God. That's
Sharon Moe saw the
incredible.
lights as well. Oh,
There it goes again. It did
That's
it again.
5 times already.
my phone is flashing me. Look at the hairs on my arm.
Oh, it just
Again.
happened at 6 times. 6.
I have goosebumps on my head right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Thank you for flashing the
Thank
light.
you. That was really cool. You see, I said Sharon saw the light as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said he's a nice guy, so he doesn't do anything wrong. He doesn't frighten me, my girls, my dog. I've got 5 dogs and 3 cats, and they're supposed to sense bad energy and so on.
Yep.
I always joke saying my dogs were broken. My dogs and cats are broken, but I feel like I'm sitting like this now so we can get the full camera view of it.
Yes, it's
It
done it
happened.
again.
I just saw it. I saw it too.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move my head over to the natural light to see if it's a camera.
Yeah, do it again.
Yeah, see, it just happened again.
Yes.
Like that. Okay,
He's
so I'm
blinking.
blocking
Oh,
it now.
it's still going.
did it
It's still
before.
going.
It's still going. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you move your head.
It's like really interacting.
Plus, the fact what you said earlier is correct. If your camera starts out of focusing, you're gonna get blurry.
Yes.
You're not blurry, and so is the background is not blurry either.
No, it's not. It's
No.
full. It keeps going.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at it now at natural.
I would have thought you would have seen it flashing this time because you were facing because it flashed again.
I can't see it, but I'm looking at it.
See, yeah, there it goes again.
I saw it flick. Well, this side. Can you do it one more time so I can look at it? Can you actually move the lights for me? Okay, I'm asking for too much now, Jenny. I'm getting greedy. I don't know if it's natural light or what is it.
It hadn't been doing it the whole time. Just when you started asking, it started.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
this has got to be the biggest amount of activity I've ever seen on a podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to check the live later because if it did it before,
Okay.
then we debunked it. But I
Yeah.
haven't seen it
You
before.
have to cut it out. You have to cut it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. Yeah, because I said well, he is a nice guy. Don't know who he is, but I heard him say my name in my house one night. I say about 2:00 in the morning, and I'm up. My children are not here, so I'm sitting. The couch used to be back there, so I'm sitting on the couch on the left-hand side. Over here is the door, and I said, "I know you're here. I've heard you. I've seen you. I have a feeling." Did you touch my head? I have a feeling that you're here and so on. And I could see, from the corner of your eye, the professional, what's it called? The
Peripheral side.
peripheral side. And so I said, I know you're here, blah, 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 blah. And then I literally heard him on the left-hand side saying, Jenny. Then you will hear me on recorder. I have it on my file saying, did you say something? did you just try and say something? Because I went quiet for a second. And I have that on audio. The only sorriest thing I ever did when I started off doing audio was loop that. So instead of just having the one Jenny, it was like Jenny, Jenny, Jenny. It's all kind of together. So I'll do that again.
Makes it creepier.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? And I'm thinking someone else is calling me. But I have it on audio, and he's in my house. And anywhere I go, he's there. And I know he's there because he says my name. Or it could be somebody in the location that I know that I've been doing for years saying my name. But the same voice is in every location.
This is from
Yeah, probably. Probably, yeah. Lep Castle loves me. Great stuff in Lep Castle. Really mind-blowing in Lep Castle.
I seriously want to go there.
Yeah, that makes two of us. I've been wanting to go for years.
I've just mailed Sean today to make our booking in for October. We're hoping to get October the 30th, something like that. But we'll take any date in October. So we're planning on going back. I'll be back in Left Castle in September and October.
Speaking of such locations like this, I thought I'd let you guys know this too. This just happened a few months ago. I mean, I can't make any promises, but we're still going to try anyway. We just had another historic prison here in Illinois just shut down, which which was Statesville Prison. In fact, it shut down 100 years after it originally opened back in 1925. So, and for the longest time, that was one of our biggest maximum security facilities we had here, at least here in the state. The only problem is that, according from what I've been hearing, is there might be a chance, sadly, they might be trying to demolish it. But I did hear that historical groups are trying to save the property because the goal for them is to demolish it and then build a new prison facility on top of the old one. Which, yeah, that's what they're thinking about doing. But as far as I know, there are some some historic groups trying to save it because of its history. I mean, I understand if it was like in really bad shape to the point that it was like beyond repair, that as much as I would hate to say it, yeah, I do have my exceptions for some demolitions, like if they're like just beyond repair. Yeah. But according to what I heard about this place, considering it had been running for 100 years and some parts of the facility where it has been taken care of, I mean, maybe there are some areas that are really in bad shape, but there's probably others that can be manageable. But, if that's the case, I don't know what the prison's condition looks like right now, but I would hate to see such a facility like that go. And it's just across, maybe like a mile or two from the other prison that just started doing investigations a few years ago, the Joliet prison.
Never heard of it, but it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, and I'll tell you guys, the other prison, Joliet, yeah, it's one that's kind of getting itself out there. It just only started doing investigations back in 2018. In fact, I was one of the very first investigators to actually investigate and also help out with some of the history and paranormal tours when they first opened. I mean, up until then, it had been closed for almost 20 years because the prison originally closed down in 2002. And for the most part, it was really abandoned. And they just started doing the tours, like I said, around Halloween of 2018. And although you guys probably haven't heard of it, it is familiar for another reason, not just because of its history, but it's even been featured in a well-known movie. In fact, it was featured in the opening scene of the movie The Blues Brothers with with the prison gate opening up.
Yeah.
That was Joliet Prison. And funny enough, they shot it while the prison was still in operation.
Seriously?
Yeah. Wow. They did. They really did.
Wow.
And I actually had the opportunity when I used to do the tours, the way how they opened the gate, it was an old-fashioned gate. So it was not like we have now where it's like a press of a button, it's electronic. You had to use like an old-fashioned handle to open the gate to get prisoners in and out, as well as visitors. Well, I had the honorable pleasure of using that doorway one time and opening it up and closing it. They were like, let's get Nick to do this.
Love it. Oh, excuse me.
Sharon says, "Oh, lava prison, Spike Island, of course. I think it's course.
Cork.
Cork.
County
It
Cork,
is?
Yeah.
in the southwest of Ireland. Cork.
Oh, seriously? Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, really. It's Sharon. I know Sharon. Hey, Sharon. Sharon's from Power Event here in Ireland. She's in the north of Ireland. Fantastic team. We do a lot of stuff together, and we're going to be doing more stuff together. But Spike Island, they have now closed it to any paranormal teams going over. But I think it was three times the size bigger than Alcatraz. It's absolutely huge.
Very nice.
It was an army fort as well. Is that right, Sharon? An army barracks. I remember when I had a personal trainer and we were doing, we were talking away, and he said, when you're going back, let me know, and I'll go down with you because I used to stay there. And I'm like, what, in the army or prison? He goes, prison. Shut up, chinchulli. Prison. Okay, I'm glad we're on a video call, working out. I'm working out, he's sitting down to a big breakfast roll. Absolute arse. But it's 3 times the size of Alcatraz. It's now close to any paranormal teams going into it.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's and you get the boat over to it. It's closed down. I think that the prison closed down in the 80s or 90s, Sharon. And then they took, and I was down in Cork only a few months ago, and you could go out to it, but it's by boat only, and you have to have an appointment to go out to it, or to investigate it. But they don't allow teams anymore.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
That is too bad.
Yeah.
They're doing something like that. I mean, they're not stopping the investigations, but they're doing this like for public visitations. Ironically enough, there's a Paracon that I'm hoping I'm going to be able to go to next week. I'm not sure entirely yet. It's the Ohio State Reformatory for ParasiteCon. And before like, I think it was 2 years ago. Sorry, that was my emails. I think it was like 2 years ago they started doing this, where while they do allow like the full night investigations still, before, if you were just visiting during the day, you could do like a mini investigation, of course, provided that there wasn't that many people around interfering. Well, now, unfortunately, they're saying you cannot do any like investigations during the day at all now, which to me doesn't really make a lot of sense because, it's like for those especially who are just getting into the field, or those that are just learning, they're always under this impression that it only happens at night, which I always usually correct as much as I'm able to, saying contrary to popular belief, that's not always the case because we've had quite a lot of activity during the day. So the fact that the group that runs, the tours at Ohio State Reformatory, that you cannot do investigations through. I mean, it's like, what's the full reason for it? Like, to this day, I still don't know why they decided to stop doing them.
I don't know. Because she can do it during the day as well. Like you said, it's haunted during the day as well. But I do agree with a lot of teams when they say at night is better. It doesn't matter. It's not haunted during the day. It's because usually when you go in the night, you don't have to think about the shadows if you are completely darkness. Because if you see a shadow on camera, you can make sure it's not you. Because it's almost not possible to see your shadow being cast in the dark. That's not possible. That's why I do it at night, for instance. But you can also just go do an investigation during the day because it's more than possible to catch your EVP video, whatever. Doesn't matter.
It even depends on where you're doing it, because the daytime you're more listening out for traffic, for people talking, passerbys, animals, and whatnot.
It's less interference.
Right. And then at nighttime, you kind of, everybody settles down, your hearing is a little bit more pierced, a little bit more clearer, and that's why it's better at nighttime. Daytime, you can do it at daytime. We've gotten things at daytime. Great stuff.
Enough, yeah.
But it's nighttime and everybody has just settled down and in the dark, so every other senses works.
Exactly. In the meantime, we did have a question. I didn't put it in
I
yet
see it
because
right
we were
there,
talking.
yeah.
But why do you think the paranormal is so much more accepted in the USA and Great Britain than over here in the Netherlands? That's a good question.
Oh, wow. Don't know.
Because
I
it's
don't-
not very. It's still not really accepted here.
Is it not really?
Nope.
Wow.
Well,
Still no go.
and it's not just only in the Netherlands. I mean, believe it or not, as you guys know all too well, with these worldwide connections and stuff. In fact, I was just talking with a few other investigators from other parts of Europe just recently, and they've said the same thing, although they're saying that for some of these countries, they are starting to slowly but surely get into it. Like I was just talking with, I think I talked to you guys about them before. There's a group from Norway, which is the Norwegian Ghost Hunters. They're probably, as far as I know, one of the first, if not the first true paranormal group of Norway to really go out and of course, like where they live, they don't just go through Norway. They also go to neighboring Sweden as well. And it's just interesting of like how, I mean, it's no different for the most part than like how we see investigations, like whether it's here or the UK or wherever. It's just really fascinating to start seeing it partially grow. So while it may not be accepted now, like let's say in the case for Netherlands, something tells me probably within a few years we're probably going to start seeing more of that. And in addition to Norway, I just made this connection just 2 nights ago. In fact, I sent the link to the show so he can tune in if he was around. Someone from Denmark just the other night. He runs a ghost hunting group in Denmark, and I'm also supposed to be speaking with someone, in fact, on the phone sometime tomorrow afternoon from Belgium. So it's really,
Nice.
yeah, it's really starting to get out there. But again, as of right now, it's just really, really small.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's for the same reason.
Yeah, I still don't know that reason.
And actually, I forgot one more, and this is one that I think is very important. In spite of what they're going through right now, I finally made my first connection because I did ask because there were some other investigators that use this city, like, one of the city names or whatever. And I asked, are you actually from there? Just out of curiosity. And most of the time they said no, but this is the first time that this individual said yes. I finally made what I think is probably our very first connection from Ukraine, in spite of what's going on.
Wow.
And that too was a rarity.
Wow.
That would be amazing to hear of investigation from these countries that we don't get to see a lot of investigations from, like you're saying, like Ukraine, like Russia, India. I know there's a great Indian team out there as well, and from Philippines as well. And it's
and their history, just like the rest, just like with the UK, Ireland, and Netherlands, history goes so much further back. I mean, obviously, way further back than over here. Obviously, our country's history only goes back 250 years. So it's like you can only imagine just not only the history, but just the amount of activity in some of these locations that a good majority of us probably don't even know about. And again, that is the reason why, again, with my show Nick Files, I cover a lot of those kind of locations. In fact, earlier this year, when Zach did that when we did the it was on February 22nd. It was for the veterans. When I did my special top 10 or no, it was top 15 countdown this time, like on different hospitals, different like veterans hospitals and whatnot.
Yeah.
I actually got some assistance from the Norwegian Ghost Hunters, and I decided to cover a few of those locations throughout Norway and Sweden. So there was a few people that responded back after the show was over thinking, wow, I've never heard of these locations. And I've never bothered, some people had said never bothered to check the Scandinavian countries. And I was like, well, believe me, there's a lot more than you think there is out there.
There is, definitely.
absolutely.
Completely agree. Although I do have to say that there's a couple of Indian teams I watched because I did my reviews, of course, with the ghostly videos. But there's a couple of them that I'm like, if that happens over there, I'm staying home.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And they go into these buildings and you see somebody crouched in a corner, and I'm thinking, this is not real. It makes
You
me.
die.
Yeah. I tell you, you're walking by yourself, and it's like in the middle of nowhere. You're in by yourself, and I'm watching it from my phone on my iPad, and even my heart is racing.
Exactly. Yep.
Thinking,
That's like hello and goodbye.
don't do it. What are you doing? And then
No.
I don't understand what they're saying. And then they're going in, and then you see this person crouched with long black hair, turning around, like looking up. And I'm thinking, right, this is just a scaremonger. This is definitely not real.
No, exactly.
Some of it is very much scaremongering, but the other ones, I want to go over.
Yeah.
I would have.
Well, I was asking Irene from Japan.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of videos with yokai, just the Japanese ghosts. The way we look at each other, it's supposed to look. And I was like, I've heard a lot about that, but one way or another, I just don't believe it. In my eyes, ghosts are see-through. I can't just look at them like this. So I asked her, I said, are those videos real? Do they really see people walk like that? She says, no, they're always see-through. But it is a lot clearer because we honor them.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But if it was supposed to be like we saw each other, like not see-through, not whatsoever, and that's coming to crouch at you, and I'm like, okay, I'm staying home. I'm not going to go to Japan. My wife can go alone. I ain't doing it.
And funny enough, my dad was just watching again show Paranormal on camera where they did interview a. I'm actually going to see if I can find him on Facebook. I don't know if Irene would know who this is. Believe it or not, there was another paranormal investigator in Japan. Unfortunately, I can't remember the guy's name, but he captured. Not only is it just like a partial. Well, obviously, you only just see part of it, not the full figure. Definitely a very creepy video, nonetheless, where he investigated, I think it was like an abandoned, I didn't see the full segment, so I think it might have been some kind of abandoned house or whatever, and he had caught on 2 occasions what looked like, the first time looked like it was like a hand, like a solid hand, and again, I didn't get the full story, so I don't know if he actually saw it or he later reviewed it. But the second part of the video, I think, was even creepier, where he's moving the camera, and all of a sudden you see the side of a face peeking out.
Oh,
yeah. Isn't that the dude that wears the black and white mask?
I'm not sure, but you just only like half of the face is peeking out, and it has like this black hair covering, kind of like what we would expect to see like in Japanese horror films. It appears to look like a boy, at least like a teenage boy, but it's just such, whether or not it's a real video, it's still scary to watch. And it even looks like the expression on this boy's face does look angry. So
wow,
it's hard to say, but but it did kind of have that partial solid look to it. Like I said, contrast to like most of the time when we see these things, usually we perceive them as see-through.
Yeah.
When I was up in the north of Ireland in a place called Shane's Castle, a location I used to investigate for 8 to 10 years, we did it every single month. It was all under the grounds, tunnels. And myself and one of our team members were late going up, so the rest of the team were down in the tunnels. I'm eating dog hair. And we were sitting in the car outside, and the toilets are outside. So you have the males here and you have the females there. So we're sitting outside for about an hour and a half. And, just talking and doing a little walk in the grounds, going back into the car. I'm sitting looking out of the window, and I seen a solid black figure, as black as my top. There's lights on outside, spotlights, so we know it's not any other team member. We definitely know that. But it was solid black, and I could see the side profile of this man's head. You can see the nose, just the shape of the lips, the chin, the neck, shoulders right down to the waist. Walking sideways. Just walking sideways. I said nothing to my friend Susan. I said nothing to her. trying to take in what I had just seen. I was like, what? And she said, oh my God, did you just see that? And I'm like, what did you see? I gulped. What did you see? And she said, I just seen a waist and legs walking by. So we seen the same person. I seen top half and she seen bottom half. But it was a solid black figure, no see-through, no facial features, just the outline of the neck, the chin. It's very, very, very active in Shane's Castle in County Antrim. Very, very active. Seeing something see-through in another place called Redwood Castle. It was like a woman in a beautiful dress, but she was see-through. And I looked at one of the other girls and she looked at me and I said, did you? And she goes, did you? And I'm like, well, if you're asking me, did I? And I'm asking you, did you? We did. We probably did. And I know exactly where she was walking by. And I don't know if it was just me. I'm kind of like blinking my eyes thinking I'm tired or whatever. We hadn't even started investigating yet. We were just setting up. And we were sitting down beside the fire. And we looked over at the same area and she looked at me and I looked at her. We seen the same thing. I could see you could see the window through her.
Yeah.
And I thought if when I say validation, I don't know from two different people seeing this woman in this beautiful wide dress in Redwood Castle. I don't know. I do not know. Never seen her again, though. Heard her, but never seen her again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future. You never know.
We're back in July for 18 and 19 for the weekend. So we're back in July. So we have a weekend there with fantastic people. And I'm doing that location about 8 years. It's a great place.
Well,
love my lap.
Fingers crossed.
See, I can kind of relate to another kind of somewhat. This is really interesting. And again, this is one I've talked numerous times. I mean, so I'm just going to make it short, which is as I bring up a lot of times, like when I had my first full night investigation at Waverly Hills, and I saw, if you guys remember, I said I saw multiple shadow people the first time we went up to the 4th floor, but they had kind of an interesting appearance to them because even though it was completely dark, it was pitch black. It's like I could still see the outlines of them. But what's even strange, it was almost like they were kind of like a combination of both see-through and solid, if it makes sense. Like I could see the outlines of them, but it's weird. They kind of had like this kind of glowing matter within them.
Yeah.
But also kind of like a smoky appearance. Probably almost something like you would see like from one of the if you had like a movie involving like a smoky, ghostly looking figure. That's kind of how I see it. It's a little hard to describe. So it was like best way I could really say it was like the outline was solid, but the interior structure of the torso was see-through, but it still had smoke, almost like as if it was honestly as if the entire body was like made out of smoke itself. That's really the best way I can really describe it. It's kind of hard to say.
The crazy the way they come in different forms and colors and so on. Shane, I sent you a picture. My friend Sharon from Para Event. This is Sharon. This was on when Sharon was doing the interview for Spooked Ireland with Chris Fleming and his team. This is a picture that was taken by Sharon on the night on a coffee break.
I'm going to share it.
Please do. This is in Lep Castle.
There we go.
Oh, wow.
That is a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing, right?
You can clearly see an outline there.
God.
And it's see-through.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and you can see now this area where they're sitting, see where the candle is on the right-hand side is where we sit, the big fire pictures that I put up, the big fire. So that's where that area is. That lamp behind this person, we think it's a woman, is the hallway down towards the toilets area. And then to the left is where you go out to the greenhouse, where I get great activity from as well. So this is the main room where people set up, where teams set up, and so on and so on. So this was on the show Spooked Ireland. You can't even see through the person with the wall behind it, and the silhouette at the side, the little, you cannot see through it, but if it is one of the team or not, and I'm going with not.
It's not, because you could, if it was one of the team, you could clearly see a person standing there, even though it was blurry. But you can see
Right.
facial features
Yep.
and
Yeah.
the skin. You don't see that here. So,
Isn't a
but this is
fantastic picture? Yeah, it was in the
this is
newspaper as
amazing.
well. It's a creme de la creme picture. It was in the newspaper as
Yeah.
well, and
Oh yes,
and Spooked Ireland. Yeah.
I'm not gonna
That
lie.
is-
The first
wow.
time seeing that picture kind of startled me a little bit because I was not expecting
Mm.
that.
Surprise.
Well, and we have a similar picture like that. Unfortunately, I don't have possession of it because someone else from my old team took it. And funny enough, we were just talking about it with a few new friends of mine a few nights ago, and it's been quite a long time it's been over 10 years since this photo was taken. For starters, what could have been a better night that we did it, because we did it on Halloween night, and we investigated in fact a haunted school, which is called Carl Schurz High School. And Carl Schurz High School, to start off with, it's one of the oldest operating high schools in Chicago. And but because of its history, it first opened in 1910. But because of its historical significance, they've been using it now more than just a high school. They've used it for like a lot of events and whatnot. It's a huge school, but because this was built at the turn of the 20th century, one of the things that still remains is the old-fashioned bathrooms they have. And I don't mean like the way how they use them, just the appearance of it, which it resembles kind of more of a basement, I would say, because you have to walk down these stairs to get, you open the door, then you walk down these stairs to get to the bathroom. So on Halloween night 2014, we investigated along with if you guys remember, I told you I started a paranormal club, and you guys know that there was another school that started a club of their own. That was that club. So we had a ghost box session, and of course we had all the lights off. We took a lot of pictures, and one of the guys that was with us, he's like, he tried to debunk it first as soon as he saw it, but that was until we started zooming in on it. This was really one of the few times that, like when you capture something, you really have to think it over. Thinking, is this really, paranormal? Could have just been someone standing behind or a shadow or whatnot. There was no denying. This was one of the few times there was no denying that this was definitely not paranormal, because we took several pictures of one spot in the bathroom, and I was standing on the other side when the photo was taken, and what we captured, it was literally a black figure standing behind one of the kids. And here's the weirdest part, though. This kid said that he felt cold, like ice cold air around his throat, his neck area. Well, we looked at the picture and we noticed something that just didn't seem to make a lot of sense. We saw what looked like almost like something reflecting, like off like where this figure was standing. It wasn't the figure itself. It was almost like as if it was holding something. So we zoomed in on it with the phone, and I don't think I've ever been shocked as I ever have seen with a piece of paranormal evidence. Apparently, there was what it was, well, for starters, it was sticking out of this kid's neck, which explains the cold air around his throat area. But upon further inspection, it appeared to be the blade of a knife, literally standing out of his neck. And it was even more suspicious because the way out of this figure, because I think we got at least two pictures of it. By the time we took the second picture, we definitely did notice that it moved. And the way how it moved, it almost like, as I could describe it, it looked like as if it was leaning down, as if to say, I dare you. And because I think it probably assumed that we could see it. But that photo that you showed, Jenny, it reminds me a lot of this picture. If I don't know whatever happened with the picture. If I do happen to find the guy who took it, I'm going to try to have him send it to me.
That would be great if we could
That would be very great.
There was very quickly, Shane. There's another picture Sharon had sent me that I have sent on to you. Sharon, where is this, Sharon? Is that? I don't know if that's lep or not. Is
This,
it?
this picture.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Let's see if I can scroll the right way, because
Oh, yeah,
there was a picture sent after that, and we're going to compare images.
Yeah.
Okay. That picture.
Hmm.
Does it look like Sharon? Where's that location? Is that in Lep?
It
Let me
looks
see.
like someone with a helmet.
Yeah,
That
that's good.
does.
It's like here.
Oh my god! Now that
picture.
she's, I didn't see the helmet at first, but yeah, now that you said that, now I can see it.
The eyes, the nose,
Yep.
Yeah,
side,
Weird.
cheek, side profile.
absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. This is amazing.
Isn't it great? She gets great pictures.
Oh yeah.
It's the window in room with the big table. Is that the banquet room? The banquet room. That's the second floor in Lep Castle.
Very nice.
Yeah, the
Oh, she
banquet room.
says
Yeah,
Flap Castle. Okay.
yeah.
Wow. See, now I have to go.
Yes, you have.
It makes me want to go even more now.
We're going back
Yes.
October. Well, we're hoping to go back in October. We will. We don't know what date yet, but we will get back in October. Get a flight.
I wish I could, dear. I swear to God, it's going to be next year.
Listen, next year, please God.
It's still there then.
Yeah, we can still do Lap Castle. It will be done. It is.
It will.
Phenomenal. It's my playground. I'm absolutely obsessed with Lap Castle. Sharon, and then when you come over, come over. Sharon will come in and join with us as well. Sharon and her team will join us.
Yeah.
And they get great pictures. I'm the audio. Sharon's the pictures. She gets great pictures. I get great audio. So
Yeah.
I'm usually a video.
and the video, and videos as well. My God! And I know when we were in, there was one time when I was in Hellfire Club in Dublin. We got this fabulous video footage. I don't have that video footage anymore. But I'm looking for it. I know I have it somewhere. But I don't have it because some arses took it. But I will get that video. But fantastic piece of video footage from Hellfire Club. And then Sharon had sent me a video last week of her in Hellfire Club in one particular room that nobody likes. And it even had me with my mouth opened. And it's not often that I kind of have nothing to say. I was like, what?
Wow.
This was a fantastic video that she had sent me from Hellfire Club. It's crazy. It was great. So Hellfire Club is a must as well.
Yeah.
Lep Castle is a definite.
I just want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did send you also pictures.
I noticed, yeah.
And you have to start with the third, I think.
The one where there's nothing there yet?
Yeah.
All right. Let me check. Here we go. It's this one.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Look at the picture. It's Woozy.
Yeah,
Look.
it is.
The second one.
Yes. And then you go back to the other three.
Yeah, I got one over here. This is the thing where it goes.
Yes, and one is enhanced.
Okay. Excuse me.
And supposedly there's nobody there.
No, he was alone. This picture was taken in Indonesia. It was sent to me to debunk it, to explain it. And we looked at it with a few people and couldn't explain it. It's a period clothing and no one is wearing it anymore. And the strangest thing is we couldn't find the exact clothing.
That's weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
That's old Indonesian clothing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. That's traditional clothing.
Yeah.
Nobody wears that
I
anymore.
have one enhanced with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's this one.
Yeah, it is.
That is weird.
there is another picture that I do have another picture. This one was not taken by me. In fact, this was sent to my dad, as a matter of fact. And this was, again, over 10 years ago. I know we have the picture somewhere, but even if we do, I'm not entirely sure if I could show it because for two reasons. Well, mainly one reason. At the time the picture was taken, it was meant to be like a children's picture. Like it was like, some family, just like but I will describe it at least. My dad, well, for starters, my dad was talking to someone that knew the guy that took the photograph. And this guy sent his friend the picture. He's like, can I show you this for a sec? He's like, he sent me this weird picture and I don't know what to make of it or something like that. And again, I didn't know anything about it whatsoever. And my dad's like saying, Nick, you got to come over and check this out. And he showed me this picture and it was like, it's just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just really bizarre. But what's in the pictures, you see these two kids, again, they're probably like in their teens today, but at the time two little girls that were standing, just like probably during the winter, I would assume. So they're just standing. It was, again, just meant to be just a normal picture of kids every day. But off to the left of the photo, which you can clearly see was, of course, taken by a phone camera, there was this like pale looking figure like standing. But the weird thing is it's not standing like a typical person. To kind of demonstrate, it's like its legs were like it was coming out this direction, like it was almost like a photobomb, I would say, as if it was photobombing the camera, but you could clearly see it's kind of partially levitating up in the air a little bit. And not necessarily you don't necessarily see anything, but the figure apparently is nude, and it does apparently look. I mean, it's hard to say because of how blurry it looks, but it does look like a woman. But even stranger, you don't see hair, but you could still see kind of like the areas where the eyes, the nose, and the mouth would be. And the guy that showed this picture to my dad, again, who now has a copy of it, he says it almost appears like this figure also kind of looks burnt in a way. Well, it turns out, ironically enough, that there had been a fire in that house. Now, as far as like any deaths occurred, they've never really said. But it sounds like to me that this could have been like a burnt fire victim. Yeah. If I ever do get the picture again, I'm not sure if I could really, even though many years have passed and the kids have grown up, I'm not really sure if I can't really. But if we're like, what I can't do at the very least is maybe not on the show, but when we're backstage or something like that, I could show you guys the picture of that.
That would be awesome. That would be brilliant.
Just like, it is just.
Maybe you can show it if somebody can blur out the faces of the kids, because I can blur
that's
them out.
That's what I'm probably going to do too, is because I know how to blur pictures out, so I'll probably just blur it out. Maybe then it's okay to do it, but but
otherwise
it is a creepy but incredible. It's a compelling photograph, I have to admit, and it's just another way I could really describe it because I'm thinking, I'm just looking, I'm seeing it in my head right now. I should have even said this years ago, but by thinking about it now and seeing how it looks, not only does it kind of have this burnt kind of look and the fact that it looks nude in a way because of its pale color too, and the way how the face looks, it does in some way kind of look almost skeletal, I would say. So the figure also looks kind of emaciated.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely is.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
So it's just like we've tried getting this picture debunked and we haven't been able to. There's no explanation for this photo.
Now you make me curious.
Yeah, really.
Right.
No, I don't like that.
Oh, excuse me.
No, we discussed a complete different topic.
Yes.
I had everything
we haven't talked about it yet.
I had everything open and ready to go, and I even found out more things which I didn't know.
Can we do it in half an hour?
Yes. Oh gosh, very quick.
We're going to do the topic we wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Yes.
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 We're gonna talk lower level demons.
Yes.
They are called succubuses and incubuses.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
What are they?
Well, I have it open here. They even have what is the daughter of an incubus.
Oh, cool.
So a cambion, 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 a European mythology and literature. A cambion is the offspring produced from a human-demon sexual union, typically involving an incubus or succubus. So we now have an offspring. Oh my god!
That makes sense. It really
better
does.
and better every year.
I always wondered there was like some kind of offspring that would come from such, from succubi or incubi.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What happens if? So what happens if you sleep with an incubus? Walter Stevens writes in his book Demon Lovers that some traditions hold that repeated sexual activity with an incubus or a succubus may result in the deterioration of health, an impaired mental state, or even death.
Yeah.
How rare are the incubus? Over 1 in 10 people, or 11% of the general population, will experience that incubus phenomenon in their lifetime. That means that there's 11%. Yeah, 11% chance for any given individual to experience this. Like, after watching that movie, The Entity.
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched that when I wasn't even a teenager, and that stayed with me. To this day, I'm bleep age. And I will not, and I kept saying this, and I'll say it again, I will not shower unless my children are in the house. And I'm going away for 13 days, and I'll be staying in hotels by myself. I'm going to be a dirty, smelly little girl by the end of the 13 days. Unless I get one of the people say, listen, you wouldn't come in and sit in my room. Like, just watch a show for half an hour. I'm just popping in for a shower. Why? It's just that thing. Or I'll have the radio on or something like that. Or I know one of the dogs will always come into the bathroom with me. It's just that movie that I know it can happen. And when you're investigating and you're touched, that feeling when you're touched, like when I wear short sleeves and your arm is touched, and it's that sensation that no one's there but you're being touched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, and just absolutely not. I'm a big no for that.
Yeah.
It's surprising. I mean, I know that movie all too well myself, but the funny part is this might be a shock. I've never actually seen it, yet I know the real case behind it. And, it's just, it's just such, I mean, of course, obviously, like I said a while back, I did a Nick Files episode on the real entity case, and it's just, it was definitely, I would say, a lot more frightening than the movie itself. But Larry, the movie really stuck to like what the true case was with Doris Bither.
Yeah,
it's scary. It scarred me. It literally scarred me. I'm petrified of it.
I don't know if you knew this because I did this near the end of. I mean, I know it was like 2 years ago or almost 3 years ago now. I think when I started doing Nick Files episode that one of Doris Bither's kids did briefly come forward to talk about some of the experiences that not only his mom went through, but what he and his siblings had went through too. Of course, it's been a while since I've done it, so I don't really remember all the full details of what he did say. And it was a very rare interview. I mean, it was not like a video recorded interview. This was one that was written. So that was the other thing too, was I was also fortunate enough to collect a lot of what he said and put it on my slideshow. So that way I could have it not just for the show, but to have it for safekeeping.
Yes.
Because some of these websites obviously get shut down over the years. So it's just good to have it with me for safekeeping. And he did confirm that a lot of like what you see for stars like in the movie, but what you heard in the story really did happen in the case in which his mom indeed was raped by invisible entities. The only thing that he did say that didn't really stay true to the story was Doris Bither claimed that there were 3 entities that attacked her. although there was kind of a fourth entity, but that was the one that kind of stayed back. That was like the only harmless ghost in that case. But that's not the main point, is that Doris claimed that the ghosts were of Asian men. But according to her son, he never said that any of the ghosts were of Asian descent. So, but he did say, however, and this goes along, the typical story, they definitely did encounter the less hostile ghost, which they later dubbed as Mr. Who's-It. And they said they saw Mr. Who's-It numerous times throughout the house, but unlike these other entities that were attacking their mom, like I said, he was the only one that didn't take part in that kind of stuff. So there were really 4 entities that haunted that house.
Wow.
It's scary. I'm looking up here. The demon attacked at night, explaining the incubus phenomenon. And it says, if you ever woke up in the middle of the night feeling as though you've been crushed by a demonic being, you may have just have experienced what is called the incubus phenomenon, an attack by a male demon. Its female counterpart, the succubus, usually attacks men. The phenomenon is in many ways the quintessential nightmare for centuries. The incubus demon has said to haunt sleepers, inspiring tales into traditional folklore as well as the work of art. Now, a new meta-analysis, I think, from the Netherlands suggests that this frightening phenomenon may be more common than previously thought, and that it should be taken more seriously by psychiatrists and psychologists who hear such accounts from their patients. Wow.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right?
Look who's here.
So,
Can you hear me?
Hey,
It worked.
Can you hear me?
yeah, we could hear you.
yep.
That was weird. It won't let me open up from my phone, so I had to copy the link and paste it in Google for me to get in. There was no two dots for me.
Oh,
That's weird.
Insane.
Hi, Noreen.
What the fuck?
You know, right?
Hello, Noreen. Excuse me.
Yeah. I know there has been a time that it was called sleep paralysis.
That's
Yeah,
what it says.
and
that's what I was about to
psychological
get to. Sleep
problem
paralysis.
for people with
Mhm.
sexual addictions,
Mhm.
especially for Lois, sexually.
I was
So, yes.
You missed Scott. Now he's very sad.
Yes.
Yes, Scott was taking part of it too. He was. They were encouraged, yes.
Hello.
What is the succubus weakness?
That's
You guys
actually
talking about
a really good question, honestly. I've always kind of wondered that too.
It says decapitation. I could be saying that wrong. Succubi can be killed through decapitation, heart extraction. A succubi can be killed by ripping their hearts from the chest through only by beings with immense strength. Sexual needs succubi are dependent on the sexual energy and life force of living beings to sustain themselves.
Oh, that's good. I don't have nothing to worry about.
While you guys are talking about this, I'm gonna share the screen briefly because all this talk in this case, like with the incubus, I guess you guys, because this is what's notorious about it too. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this painting, of course, of the what's known as the nightmare. You guys see that?
I think so.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Oh,
The
gosh.
nightmare- yeah, the nightmare painting from 1781.
Yeah.
That's probably the most famous painting in this case of an incubus.
It is.
Yes.
And what I like about this painting, I mean, I know it's in fact really in color, but I think I like it in black and white better than the color version because it just has a lot more. It just has a more unsettling, creepy look to it.
And the horse behind it is not looking too fresh either.
What's that?
The horse behind it is not looking too fresh.
Well, not only that, if you look real closely, you probably can't see it too well unless you zoom in. Is that the horse peeking into? I think it's a tent that it's in. The eyes are featureless. It just has these featureless looking eyes.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Well, and of course, even though it is called the nightmare painting, because obviously what this woman is experiencing is not only indeed a true nightmare, in this case having an incubus attacking her, but part of this, ironically enough, because it's occurring at night and that horses are sometimes known as mares, that's another reason why it's called the nightmare, because of the horse.
Yeah.
But either way, it's one of my favorite paintings. Anytime we talk about the incubus or succubus, I always think about this painting immediately.
It's like, you know, when they say sleep paralysis, it's like your chest is heavy, someone sitting on your chest, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, and it really does delve into the belief, because, you know, before the modern belief system for, you know, sleep or, you know, diagnosis of sleep paralysis, and even still today, not just centuries ago, even today, there has always been a paranormal belief associated. The paranormal has always been associated with sleep paralysis, and for the longest time, many cultures had different beliefs of what sleep paralysis was. In this case, with the incubus, because I think this was painted. I think this was painted in the UK. So, couple primary examples. In this case, in the 1700s. The British feared the demonic incubus that attacked women as they laid in bed, unable to move. In Newfoundland, of course, the condition is called old hag, which is the form of a frightening old witch that sits on the chest of the sleeper. In China, it's been known for centuries as ghost oppression. And finally, the only other one I can think of is that in Zanzibar, it's called Pobabawa, which is a flying cycloptic dwarf.
Wow.
So I am going to go out on a limb, and I'm not trying to offend anybody in any way, but I'm going to ask this question. With the way society is today, men, liking men, do you think a incubus would be more that way towards a guy who likes men, or do you think it would be a substitute? Because originally, they're going after that sexual fantasy, correct?
Yeah, but they are trying to impregnate somebody in the end.
Yeah,
that's kind of hard on a gay man.
Just a bit, Shane. Just a bit.
I was curious about that. That's why I kind of asked that. So
yeah, but I was kind of sort of serious in the beginning. Afterwards, it wasn't. But in the beginning, I was serious.
But even
no, they are. In the end, the end game is trying to impregnate a woman,
right? And in the movie, the entity. So the wife is being assaulted, raped by this incubus, and then the husband's downstairs, and then he's assaulted by a succubus. So is she trying to impregnate herself? You know, the high sex drive and so on, that she's trying to impregnate herself, and that's why they do it. So you see the two differences in both of them.
It's
very... night terrors and so on and so on. Like, what's the difference between sleep paralysis and night terrors? Night terrors, are they nightmares? Are they weird dreams? Are they?
Well,
I think night terrors is when you have a nightmare and it's so real that you think you are awake, but you can't wake up.
Right, I got you.
In my eyes, that's a night terror. Yeah, a nightmare is when you know you're asleep and it's scary.
Yeah, I've had them for the last 2 or 3 weeks. They don't make sense. They really don't make sense. And there's like 2 or 3 nightmares in one.
Yeah.
Well, and that's weird. And that's it's kind of difficult to kind of perceive a little bit of like what the difference is between a nightmare and a night terror, because they are so very similar to each other. Of course, the difference is like with sleep paralysis. I mean, you can kind of, the best way I could describe it is almost like a calm version of night terrors, if you will, because it's like you're awake, you're well aware of what's going on, but you can't move. And of course, also that does cause you to have hallucinations of like frightening figures, the intruder, as they sometimes call it. And once again, that's why it has this paranormal aspect, because a lot of times sleep paralysis and to some degree, some of these night terrors are associated with ghostly visitations, alien abductions, shadow people, and demonic attacks and possession.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys. I'm gonna have to jump off. My battle buddy from the army just showed up. I call him Santa Claus because he literally looks like Santa Claus. I mean,
Hi there.
I'm always on a naughty list, so unfortunately, I'm gonna have to jump off. But
Okay.
I love you guys.
Thanks for coming on, Scotty.
Scott. Take care.
See you later.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Well, I remember a few years back, I thought I had sleep paralysis, and I saw my bed sheets move, come up. I saw a shadow person, and I was pushed in the mattress. So after a minute or two, I switched the lights on, and I thought, oh my God, now it happened to me. I
Wow.
had sleep paralysis. But after reviewing, my bed sheets lay in a way I couldn't have done myself because it was folded diagonally.
Yeah.
Diagonally.
Yeah.
That word.
And I tried to debunk it with my feet, my legs. I couldn't. And after I came out of bed in the morning, I had bruises on my legs.
Wow.
And still, I questioned myself. Did I just imagine it? Was it sleep paralysis? Did I do it myself? So strange.
The bruises were the bruises like, you know, if you're kicking about in your sleep and you're kicking your own legs, that you're so deep in sleep paralysis, or were they in certain ways that they look as if you were hands?
Fingerprints.
No, just no.
Well, that's the other thing too when it comes to sleep paralysis. Some people do believe. Some people report that they feel like they're being pulled out of bed by unseen hands, as well as it's not just the hallucinations. There's also sounds associated. There's people who said they've heard voices, whispers, hissing, roaring, growling. You know, so it's at times hard to figure out exactly if it's truly just a simple episode of sleep paralysis or you're actually experiencing something paranormal, especially if it's trying to get physical with you.
Yeah.
That's why I keep it 5 dogs.
Well, and you know, I had one time of sleep paralysis a few years ago, and you know, this is unusual. This was kind of unusual when I experienced with it. A lot of times, whenever people have experienced sleep paralysis, usually the only thing you're able to move, of course, are your eyes. This was such a severe case that I couldn't even open my eyes up. It was almost like it was not only just that feeling of being pinned in bed, but it almost felt like as if something was keeping me from opening my eyes too. And the pressure around the chest was just immense. Now, I did hear there are ways that you can kind of, I guess, defend yourself, for lack of a better term, of stopping the paralysis. And it sounds ridiculous, but at the same time, it's not easy. You know, it depends if you got the strength for it. Is that apparently, if you're able to move your toes just a little bit, I guess it apparently stops the paralysis.
Yeah.
That's what I did. So before I knew it, when I was able to kind of move them a little bit, I was able to eventually set myself free. But even after I finally got out of it, I just remember I was like, it was almost like as if I ran a mile. I was out of breath. I was covered in sweat. And there was just this overall feeling of terror within me. Almost like I went through a horrific nightmare, even though it wasn't, but still. There was just that feeling of terror that follows after a sleep paralysis episode.
Yeah.
I'll be having dreams about this tonight.
Well, and you know, I just looked something else up when you were talking, you know, all this talk about like the incubus and succubus, because I was just
Okay.
looking. I just decided to kind of do a little rereading on the real entity case, and
Oh dear. Now she's not sleeping anymore. Anyway.
5 dogs in a big suit of armor.
well, it's interesting of what she said. It's interesting of what she said because they said that because it was known as spectral rape, and they said the claim of rape by these beings is one of the most interesting aspects of the case. And not to get too graphic, but Doris Bither reported that 2 of the beings were the smallest ones and would hold her down, while the biggest or tallest one of them would rape her. Dory's eldest son would admit to seeing her mother being tossed around the room. In one instance, he tried to intervene and was thrown across the room by the unseen force. And that was investigated. I remember it was investigated by Dr. Barry Tapp and Carrie Gaynor. So, to both investigators, this must have been the most bizarre claim to date, because how could you prove spectral rape or even claim it? It would seem that a person would have to be insane to even admit this. So, I mean, I've never really heard of that many cases like that myself.
And when she moved, it went with her. When they went camping, it went with her.
Yeah.
It is. And then when they moved to another house, it went with her.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It said, funny enough, I have it right here. It said, after Doris Bither left her it was in Culver City, California. So after Doris left her Culver City home, the phenomenon ceased to exist in the house. In this case, and there's quite a reason why, because it says in the beginning, further residents of the house have not reported anything out of the ordinary. The house remains to this day ghost-free and is still in good condition even 50 years later. But Dr. Barry Taft reported that Doris Bither moved from Culver City to Carson, California, from Carson to San Bernardino, California, and from San Bernardino to Texas, and finally back to San Bernardino. And just like you said, Jenny, while jumping around the 2 states, Doris reported that the phenomenon followed her and her family to every place they moved to, feeding the notion that the poltergeist phenomenon was a manifestation of her unstable environment in mind. He also reports her psychological state is made apparent when she reported being impregnated by the ghost. Medical tests showed her not to be pregnant, but suffering from an ectopic or hysterical pregnancy.
Wow.
If you have an ectopic pregnancy and you did a pregnancy test, it will show that you are pregnant. It's just an ectopic pregnancy. So if she suffered from an ectopic, they said that she was suffering from an ectopic pregnancy, but results didn't show that that she was pregnant. It would does that make sense? Still show.
I don't know if they would have had the technology like we have, like with
right.
What do you call those things?
We have scans.
Yeah, I don't know if they had ultra scans back in the 70s, but either way, they would have had something to detect someone who was pregnant even back then. And the last it says here, although this is what the story goes, they say, oh shoot, hang on one second. What the hell just showed up on my page? It was it was just some stupid. I'm reading this from a Tumblr site, and some stupid pop-up associated with Tumblr just showowed up. And it literally happened as I was about to read the last of it. I can't even get it now. That sucks. I hate it when that happens. I really do. That's always the worst when you have something like saying sign up to Tumblr or whatever.
I start yelling back at those. I don't wanna.
Yeah.
That's what I always do.
No.
Oh wait, don't worry, I found another site that shouldn't have that. I hope not. Okay, yeah, so I can read it perfectly. So
Come on.
Originally it says here that no one could say for sure what could have been going on with the family in that small Culver City house. Now, apparently this is what originally was said, but now we know that's not the case. They said since Doris Bither has not been heard of since the late 80s or 90s, depending on some reports, and her kids have not come forward, we cannot know for certain. Well, they're saying that was probably something that was written 20 years ago or so, but like I said, now one of her kids have come forward, and now we know sadly we do know that Doris Bither is no longer with us. That we still don't know the exact year, but according to some sources, she died either sometime in 1995 or 99 in her late 50s.
In her late 50s?
Yeah, because at the time when this all occurred, they didn't say exactly like her age or like what her birth year was,
Right.
but they said she was a petite woman in her 30s when all this phenomenon started back in 1974. So 20 years later, in this case, if she was in her 30s in the mid 70s, then she would have been in her 50s then when she passed away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do they know how she passed away?
It doesn't really say. It doesn't really say for some reason what happened. I'll look it up just to see if there's any new info because it has been quite a long time since I've done my research on it.
What's her name?
Doris Bither.
Spell her surname?
Oh, wait. Okay, so I guess, maybe there was info and I forgot about it. Apparently, she died of pulmonary arrest in 1999.
Okay.
But it says the exact circumstances of her death are somewhat unclear, with the few sources once again citing 1995 as the year of her death.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's all it says is that she died of. Either way, it sounded like she died of pulmonary arrest in the 90s. And it also says whether or not something sinister now they're saying whether or not something sinister continues to linger in the house on Braddock Street, which is in Culver City, remains undetermined. But the house is still there either way. And it's still, there was a news clip, I think, I think it might have been on the show In Search Of, where they did interview Dr. Barry Taff and Carrie Gaynor about this case. And they did film a little what you see of the house, not the interior of it, but the exterior of it at least. And you look at it today, it still pretty much looks the same as it was 50 years ago. It's just a little small yellow house.
Does anybody live in it?
I don't know if people live there now, but there have been residents that have moved in after the Bither family moved away. Okay. But like I said, according to them, they never reported any other types of activity. So if the conclusion, if the stories are right, then probably indeed the phenomenon did indeed follow Doris and her family to everywhere she went.
Yeah.
I would know back in I was going to say those days in the 70s, those days many, many years ago, that if that was happening to someone now, we would have now the resources and the knowledge a little bit more now to not immediately, as they call them, crazy. You know, we would listen and know more because we learned from the past. So it must have been very, very, very hard for her that if, this is happening. Was it for fame? Was it for newspapers when they moved? Was that like they would immediately call her crazy?
Well, Doris Bither, surprisingly, almost 10 years later when the entity came out in 1981, Doris Bither never really said very much like what her reaction was to when the entity came out. I think something tells me, understandably, I think she remained respectfully silent because she didn't want to have that notoriety and have people say, oh, that's the real person that, although interestingly enough, Dr. Barry Taff did act as a consultant for the entity. So you did have some of that realism with somebody involved in the real case taking part in the movie based on the case. And that's also a similar degree with another famous movie, although it was the prequel film, not the original. That was the same with Amityville Horror. Because not with the original movie, but when they made the prequel film, Amityville 2: The Possession, Ed and Lorraine Warren also served as consultants to that movie.
Yes.
Yep. They did.
Were they involved? They weren't involved with the one with the entity, were they?
No, they weren't. That was Dr. Barry Tapp and Carrie Gaynor. I've always, it's funny. It's like, it seems like Ed and Lorraine Warren for the longest time, they usually handled a lot of cases throughout the East Coast. It's like what they couldn't do on the West Coast. It was like Dr. Barry Tapp and Carrie Gaynor, finish up the job for the West Coast.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I'm going to look them up even more.
Which I know Dr. Barry Tapp, I know he's still alive today. I'm
Yeah.
not sure about Kerry Gaynor though. I think he's still
You
alive.
know we're all going to be messaging him now, don't you? We're all going to be messaging him now. Hey, what are you doing?
I did message Barry Taff, but he didn't reply.
Did he see it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It would be fantastic to get him on, wouldn't it?
It
Yeah,
would
I tried. We had a guy named David on our show. He's blacklisted.
Yeah, he's a very good friend of mine now.
Persons.
Oh, no.
And he was calling him and was agreeing on the phone to do an interview, but he didn't reply at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So hopefully, maybe in the future.
Hi.
So not, we have still our own Nick with his research.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you guys right now too. I mean,
And nowadays he's on time.
Yeah. What I was also going to say too is what I can tell you guys too. If ever given the chance of having Dr. Barry Taff on as a guest, like if he ever does get back, is he has explained on some occasions, like with the entity case, that other than finding out when Doris Bither later passed away, he did say that he was in contact with Doris Bither for a few years, but after she moved to one of the other houses throughout California, that's when unfortunately he lost track of her.
Okay.
And it wasn't until several years later when he later found out that she had passed away.
Too bad.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm gonna
Hard. Yeah.
play the asshole, but I'm gonna end our life because
Oh,
it's time. So yeah, it was very interesting again, and it was fun, and we had a laugh. And Nick was on time.
there's so much more. that
He's
we
going to
could
hear
talk
this the rest of
about
the year.
I was going to say there's so much more we could talk about. But,
Oh yes,
there's
We have
definitely more to be.
so many interesting subjects.
I
Yes.
know. We've got to, I think these lights are just. Did we see them blink? Did we see them?
I have not really
No.
seen them blink recently.
I've seen it a couple of times, but it wasn't when you were moving.
Me too. So if you're still here and we're finishing up now, we're going to say goodnight. Could you just kind of flash the lights, say goodnight to everyone?
And this is better now that it's darker. We're really going to be able to see it.
Can you blink the lights to say goodnight? You don't want to do it. I'm going to move my head to see if it's me.
Oh, wait.
That's because I've moved my head.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Something tells me as we're talking, it's going to happen. I just because it seems like it happens like when we're.
It looks a bit blurry now. Can you just turn them off?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would make Jenny run.
Lights out.
Paranormal caught on camera.
Through the camera. coming through. Can you turn the lights off for me?
See if it can.
I've no idea why the name Mark is coming to my head.
Oh, hey Tom. Hope
Hey,
you're doing good. Unfortunately, we're about to end things, but we're glad you're here for at least a minute or so. But I hope you're feeling better.
I think it's my. They have the lights, the cameras. I don't know. Hey Tom, I don't know. Can you turn the lights off for me? Oh.
Nothing happens.
No.
Jen,
Okay,
move your head again. See what it does.
I think it's good.
Yeah, it's your head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because
That was
you move.
definitely her. Yeah, that was definitely her.
Turn this light off and the camera's doing my lights. I'll do it again.
Now it's not doing
Nothing
it.
happens.
I just got a feeling it's going to happen when we very least expect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Little clear.
No, it's not you.
No, it's not you at all.
Okay,
the
I'm going
heck?
to ask you 1, 2, 3. On the count of 3, blur my lights or make them blink. Are you ready? 1, 2, 2.5. 3. Make them blurry. Make them.
Nope.
And I'm going to move my head.
Nope.
No, not this time. Oh, damn it. That would have been great.
Still can't debunk it. Shit.
Yeah, I know.
I'll be sitting here all night having 5 more hot whiskeys, and I'll have a camcorder. I'll have my body camera on me, and I'll just sit here with the body cam. I should really have the body camera strapped to my back.
Yes.
That would be cool. Yeah.
And then just kind of, sitting there. I'm not looking. I swear I'm not looking. But there's a body camera on my back, so it's really watching you.
You know what I'm really gonna hate, like probably like after this live stream. I would hate to see them go off after the live stream.
After the live,
yeah.
Because it would be like, no, we're so close.
Yes.
I have my body camera is. I thought I tried to give Jason that it is.
Jeez, that was loud.
Come on, Lighty.
Okay, that time it didn't startle me.
No.
Recording start.
So I have it on IO. I don't know why I have it on IO for though. But we'll put it over here.
See what it does.
I know they don't like cameras.
Well, it's lighting up again.
Yeah, I thought I noticed it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that could be camera adjustment because she put something
might
in
have
front of
been,
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that could be.
You
All right.
Trying to
People who are
debunk.
light, the
Yeah.
people who are light experts are probably saying, "Oh my God, it's the one more time."
Another bunch of idiots thinking it's the lights.
Yes.
All right, everybody.
I'm like rocking in my chair all night, rocking in my chair. In the morning,
No, there's nothing wrong with her. She's just checking.
yeah.
Fine.
I love the body cameras.
Body camera. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, Tom.
I need to get another one. It was about 300, so it's brilliant. Oh my
I
gosh!
have one too.
I love them. I need to get another one, so one can sit at the front and one can be at the back.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
My hair is.
You know what? That's something we should. That's something that more investigators should do. Is like have one at the front and have one at the back, because we always see all the time with investigators, like we were just talking about earlier, like you get a figure or something behind you and you wouldn't even know it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Exactly.
And if people behind you are like, you can catch them on camera.
Yes.
Talking about me behind my back, I got a body camera on.
Yeah. You would truly have eyes behind the back of your head.
Right? Who says we don't have eyes in the back of our heads? Oh,
Oh, we do now.
as Dylan always says, I'm like you one from Monsters Inc. Always watching. My black glasses, they seem to think I look like her.
No, you don't.
I
You
know.
look like a
No,
TV.
you don't.
I look like my surname is Sullivan, so they call the nickname Sully. Hi,
Yep.
Liz, how are you, my darling? Bet you nothing is going to happen here now. Look,
No.
I'll be sitting here one night.
Nope.
I'm going to leave it running all night. You see now, well, look what you're making me do.
Yep.
I'll be going to in the morning, having my slain whiskey again, whiskeys and just kind of sitting there in the dark in the corner, but just looking through the IO body camera. Sitting in a corner. Hi, Liz, darling. Sitting in a corner and just, looking through the IO of the body camera.
I imagine you doing that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before, and then when he said my name, I quickly went to bed.
Just one more thing too, because I thought I'd make this a quick announcement just before we go off. Is I'm hoping starting tonight, I'm finally going to be I know I still said that I'm going to be working on upcoming episodes of Nick Files, but I'm also. Oh, you're walking without your cane. That's good. That's really an improvement.
Doing good, Tom.
Brilliant. Oh, that's awesome.
But I just want to make the other quick announcement. I'm starting to get back to work on my audiobooks. So I'm still Yeah, I'm still working on doing the re-releases, and my goal is to try to get as much, because part of the reason why it's taking so long, of course, understandably, it's difficult when you have, like, as you guys have seen, it was difficult when all these holidays were going by and you have the house decorating and whatnot. But now, as you guys can see, the house is back to its normal state. So now I got plenty of time, at least till 4th of July, to get more of these stories completed, because I really want to try to get these corrected, re-released, get to the new series that I've talked about previously that I've had to hold off for almost 2 years now, and then try to get back to doing creating more stories, because I'm telling you guys right now, there's been some new books that have came out, and I could definitely see us in the next couple of years doing more stories. So there's in fact there's one book that it's not necessarily a scary stories book, but it does kind of have that feel to it. Funny enough, it's really a children's book, but the stories, though, they're clearly paranormal tales. It's long story short, it was a book that was written back in the late 90s. It was just simply called The Little Giant Book of True Ghost Stories. And it's literally like a little book. And it has these creepy illustrations that add to it. Not the same way like you see with the scary stories drawings, but they are similar. It has the black and white aspect of it. But indeed, they are true, because I was just going through this. I mean, funny enough, this was a book I used to be afraid of. And I got it back when I was in 3rd grade. And I found it several years later. I didn't even know we still had it. But unfortunately, as you can imagine, it's fallen apart. It's in really bad shape. The cover's gone, although the pages are still. But either way, I decided to buy a new copy. And I went through some of the stories again, and it's just amazing of like what they talk about. 2 stories in particular caught my attention, and they revolve around 2 things that I think most of us are all too familiar with. There was one that was called A Very Scary Doll. I think that gives you the idea.
Yes.
Robert the Doll. And the other one, which I already have said, I'm already calling shots on this one, recording this story. The other one happens to be no other than the Mothman.
Oh,
Nice.
I have to say, reading one of those stories out, it took me about 11 takes, because it was called The Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
It took me about 11 takes, and I did that story with someone else, and let me tell you, we have.
Yeah, you guys made a different version of it. Which to this day, I have yet to have heard Jeremy's even saying, you do not want to listen to this thing. Well, it's funny. This book that I'm talking about, that I'm hoping to eventually make into an audio book project sometime down the road, there's literally going to be plenty for everyone, because this book probably has the largest amount of stories than any of the other books, because the other ones only have like, anywhere between 10 to 15, maybe 20, 25 stories at the most. This book alone has 84 stories to it.
Wow.
So there's plenty for everyone.
A lot.
It's fun doing it. It's fun doing
I
it.
am seriously going to stop now, because we're almost at 2 hours. So
Yeah.
no,
I just wanted to throw that out, though. I'm starting to get back into the stories, so I'm going to hopefully release more terror later this year and get back into my character. It's been too long.
You will.
This body camera spoke when it does speak, but it said record and stopped. Never in all my years when I've been using it has it ever said that. Obviously, I picked it up and checked it, and it's still running.
I was wondering what that was.
It said record and stopped, but it didn't stop. It's still running, but I'll do a little playback of it now. Ooh, look what you started.
All right, everybody. We want to thank you for watching, and Spotify listeners, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week.
Have a good night.
Absolutely. And we will be talking about portals.
Yes, we will.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be very, very interesting again.
Absolutely.
Thank you both for being here and joining us.
Thank you both
And-
so much.
And Scott for dropping in.
Yeah, and Scott for dropping in, of course.
Yeah.
Hope he has a lot of fun with Santa.
Even though Christmas is still well over half a year away.
It's almost there. Almost
Well, I
there.
mean, we
Jim.
do have something called Christmas in July, so that's only 2
Exactly.
months away.
Exactly.
I like it.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Good night.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.